That game tried to give me heart attacks. And not just one, about 10. And Caballero is the death of all penalty takers. Hello there guys and welcome back to 100% Chelsea for my review of the replay game in the third round of the FA Cup between Chelsea and Norwich. And it finished 1-0 and 5-4 on penalties. We are through to the fourth round of the FA Cup. And bloody hell, that game. Someone just tweeted me, we lost more today than we won, even though we won the game. But I'll get to that. But, this is going to be a bit long because of his extra time and penalties. But getting straight into it and starting off with the lineup, it was a 3-4-3. Willy Caballero in goal, Cesar Azpilicueta, David Luiz and Ethan Ampadu as the three centre-backs. Azpilicueta actually started as the left-sided centre-back with Ethan Ampadu as the right-sided centre-back, which I thought was quite interesting. Then Zappacosta and Kennedy as the two wing-backs with Bakayoko and Danny Drinkwater as the two central midfielders. Don't forget, Ross Barkley was ineligible to play and says Fabregas, had his minor hamstring injury. And then it was Pedro and Willian on the wings with Batshuayi starting up front. And it was a better start to the game than the last few games we had. On the front foot, Drinkwater and Kennedy trying their luck from outside the box without testing the keeper though. Then in the 9th minute, first time we got very close to scoring after a corner hit by Kennedy. Bakayoko got a slight flick on the ball with his head, but Azpilicueta missed the ball by a fraction at the far post. The Spaniard was left alone completely and would have tapped the ball in from very close range. Then in the 11th minute, a good chance for Willian after a great ball by Azpilicueta over the defence. Willian chested it down perfectly but scuffed his shot well wide. In the 14th minute, our first effort on target, a free kick from a good 27 yards taken by David Luiz, but his shot flew straight into the arms of the keeper. Then in the 20th minute, and in my opinion, stonewall and clear as day penalty was not given. Zappacosta had a shot from the right hand side inside the box. His shot was blocked, but a different Norwich player clattered into Zappacosta's leg with his studs up, and the video assisted referee wasn't used today. Why on earth did they not tell the ref that was a clear foul? In my opinion, that is a clear penalty. I am pro VAR, I am pro video assisted referee, but not if it's used like this. Like this, it's absolutely useless. The ball just didn't want to go in. Drinkwater hit the bar with a great strike from well outside the box in the 25th minute. The keeper actually got a slight touch to it with his fingertips as well. Great save. Then in the 32nd, Batshuayi with a horrendous mistake when he came back to receive the ball. He passed it straight to the Norwich striker Oliveira, who had a shot and hit the bar actually. First shot of the game for Norwich though. And after that, Norwich got into the game a lot better after that chance. Starting to create a few more half chances and almost moments. We were still the better team, or at least it was even. But it wasn't anywhere near as one-sided anymore as it was in the first half an hour. That was then really it for the first half. Nothing else was created by either side. So that was then half-time and 0-0. Over 300 minutes since we scored the last goal at that point. And it was better than the last few games, like I said, but to be honest, only really for the first half an hour. After that, it was back to looking like we could play for 24 hours and we wouldn't score anyway. But earlier, we hit the bar. Aspie was a few inches away from scoring, obviously. Willian and Pedro were playing quite well, I thought, especially in the beginning of the first half, but they were playing well way too deep. Because Bakayoko, Drinkwater, two CMs today, obviously, can't really create. So Willian and Pedro had to come deep, but were way too far away from goal to actually threaten the goal. But with Barkley ineligible and Fabregas injured, obviously, we didn't really have anything else and have anything more creative to play in midfield. And Batshuayi, well, he was just useless. Two moments from him that stood out in the first half. One was a touch that bounced 10 yards away from him, and the other was almost setting Norwich up to score. But getting into the second half, and just what I said about Michy Batshuayi, he scored. Finally, we scored in the 55th minute. Michy Batshuayi starting with the throw-in on the left-hand side. William played it to Kennedy. He put in a very good low-driven cross into the danger area. Michy was in a perfect position and tapped it into the roof of the net from close range. I have to say that poor defending to leave Batshuayi with that much space in that area of the pitch. But that's what Batshuayi is good at. If he gets in those positions, he don't miss. And he gets in those positions. If the crosses find him, he will put them in. But he can't hold the ball up. He can't control the ball. He can't pass the ball. But, he scored. In the 60th minute, Norwich hit the post. Free kick from the visitors. Bakayoko lost his aerial battle at the far post. And I think Azpilicueta basically headed the ball out of Caballero's hand, who was just catching the ball. And he fell to a Norwich player who had a shot, which took a slight deflection as well. And that then hit the post. In the 65th minute, another huge chance for Norwich. This time through the main man, James Maddison. Norwich dispossessed us in a build-up play. Maddison was basically one-on-one with Caballero. But the Argentinian produced an unbelievable save to keep the ball out of the net. Unbelievable save. When we scored, I thought we'd have regained our confidence a little bit now. But really, from that point onwards, Norwich just played better and better. And we just kept giving the ball away and making silly mistakes for the next good 10-15 minutes. After those 10-15 minutes, we regained control of the game again, but without creating anything to properly threaten the keeper for a good while. Yeah, in the 70th minute, Willian made a great run down the left, going past three players, laid it off to Drinkwater at the edge of the box. It took it first time, but he didn't connect with the ball properly and put the ball slightly over and wide. In the 78th minute, a good effort by Bakayoko, but a fairly easy save for the keeper. And it took us until the 81st minute to make our first substitutions, and those were Morata coming on for Batshuayi and Christensen replacing Ampadu like for like as the right centre-back, which I thought was quite interesting. Definitely not my preferred substitutions. Really wanted to see Musonda and or Sterling come on. And we were only 1-0 up, and to be honest, lucky to be 1-0 up at that point with those two chances Norwich had after we scored. But at least one of the youngsters should have come on at that point, or even earlier, I thought. In the 84th minute then the first chance for Morata, and he got very close to scoring. It was close at least, so obviously what with his head, because with his feet he wouldn't have been close, let's be honest. Good cross by Drinkwater. Morata put his header just inches wide of the far post. In this 86th minute then Kante came on for Kennedy, who was starting to cramp up a little bit, which then meant we went to 3-5-2 with Pedro at left wing back. Yes, I know with only a few minutes left we had to make sure we didn't give our lead away, which obviously in the end we did. But I just would have preferred it if Musonda came on for Pedro or Willian and leaving Batshuayi on the pitch, or just Sterling on for Zappacosta. Didn't have a great game at all. But you know, that's what it was. Then in 89th minute, Morata really should have scored after a great cross by Pedro. But he used his foot rather than his head and completely missed the ball. I don't know what to do with him at the moment. Like, he will find the scoring boots at some point. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But at the moment, it's just bloody frustrating. In the 90th minute, great run by Morata down the left. Laid it off to Willian inside the box. The keeper was steaming out, but Willian for some reason pulled out. Probably worried about getting injured with the keeper flying in. But the ball just ended up in the keeper's arms then. And then in the 94th minute, 1-0 by Norwich. Great cross from the left. Jamal Lewis ran in between Luiz and Azpilicueta, steered the ball into the top right corner with his head. Luiz maybe could have done slightly better, but it was a very good cross and run as well. Azpilicueta maybe could have done a little bit better as well. But, you know, it was a good cross, a good run, a good header. Some goals are very difficult to defend, but you can always do better. And that obviously meant into extra time, and we really don't like helping ourselves, do we? Not that having to play this replay game wasn't bad enough already with our tiny squad and the congested fixtures. No, we also had to play extra time. And in the second minute of extra time, the second Stonewall penalty we didn't get. William was clearly fouled in the box. The video assisted referee looked at it. But this VAR thing only works when you have someone that isn't a complete knobhead looking at the footage. The second penalty we should have had in this game. Like I said, I am pro of this VAR thing. I am, kind of want it because decisions like that piss me off. Really, it's decisions like that. But clearly VAR, in England anyway, doesn't help that. Because if the referee that's looking at the footage, that's looking at the video footage, is a complete knobhead and doesn't understand, that doesn't see that he was fouled, there's no point, because then there's just two referees that can't see a clear foul then looking at it. So what's the point? It's just bloody frustrating. In the 10th minute of extra time, then Hazard came on for Denny Drinkwater. Only God knows how Bakayoko was still on the pitch with more than 100 minutes played though. 14th minute of extra time, we're just going to go by minute of extra time, just going to say the minute. Great work by Morata to set up Willian, who went past two inside the box, got his shot away, but the keeper made an unbelievable save to stop that one. And just a minute later, an incredible chance from Morata. And I had a deja vu of the Arsenal game, really. Received the ball just outside the 6-yard box. Took it first time. And again, just hit it straight at the keeper. I don't know if he's really angry at the moment. So rather than hitting the net, he really likes to shoot at people because, he needs to get the anger out of himself. But it's just, how can you keep hitting a keeper? Like, stop doing that, Morata. There was then half-time of extra time where we should have had a penalty. Had two great chances to score, but we didn't. And I would say it wasn't our day. But it hasn't been our day since we played Stoke, so that argument really doesn't work anymore. In the 18th minute, a good opportunity for Morata to shoot with his left, but instead tried to lay it off to Hazard, but that pass was then intercepted. In the 25th minute of extra time, another huge chance for Morata with his head from just outside the 6-yard box. But again, straight at the keeper basically. Like, what on earth is he doing at the moment? No, he can't even score with his head. What is he going to use next? Is he going to use with his arse or, with his, ear? Or is he going to try doing Maradona and score with his hand now? It's bloody frustrating. And then things started to get worse. 27th minute of extra time, Pedro was sent off with a second yellow for a tactical foul, stopping Norwich's counter-attack. And to make things even worse, his first booking was for a disgraceful dive in the first half. And to be honest, because of that dive, he kind of deserved to be sent off. For that dive, because it was so blatant and so disgraceful, it kind of deserves a straight red anyway, to be honest. Deserved to be sent off. Clear foul for the second yellow, clear dive for the first yellow. But then just 2 minutes later, 29th minute of extra time, Morata booked for a dive inside the box. Okay, wasn't enough for a penalty. But no fucking way was that a dive. Morata flipped, started shouting at the referee, and got his second yellow straight after and was also sent off. Great! And then actually in the 4th minute of injury time, in extra time, Norwich almost with the 2-1 after a free kick, but thankfully Caballero managed to save the header and catch it. And that was then on to penalties, and I was bloody shitting myself. My commentator said before the penalty shootout started, we only won 3 out of our last 13 penalty shootouts. That's a disgraceful statistic. We're clearly an English club. Sorry to any English viewers if you're offended by that. We're clearly an English club, bloody hell. But all of our 5 penalty takers scored, which were Willian, David Luiz, Azpilicueta, Kante and Hazard, whose penalty won it for us thankfully after Caballero saved Norwich's first penalty taken by Oliveira. That was then full time with 1-1 after extra time and 5-4 on penalties. We're through to the 4th round of the FA Cup, like I said, where we will face Newcastle at Stamford Bridge. Well, I don't really know what to say. We played better than the last 2 games, but basically went back to what it was like against Arsenal in the league. Created loads of chances, but missed basically all of them. But overall, we weren't good enough. We weren't good enough. The team we fielded was certainly strong enough to beat the team that's 13th in the Championship. But we just need to start playing better, and we need to start scoring more goals again. Especially Morata. He missed big chances with his feet. He missed 2 big chances with his head. It's really annoying. It's really started to properly annoy me, and I'm kind of wishing for Diego Costa back. People don't like to bring his name up, but Diego Costa has now scored 3 goals already for Atletico Madrid since rejoining them at the start of January. You know how many goals we scored since the start of January? Also 3. 2 against Arsenal, 1 today. Obviously not including penalties. You know what I'm saying? It's a bloody joke. Now coming to players individually, and if it would have finished 1-0 after 90 minutes, I would have said Kennedy was man of the match. Played incredibly well. Shown great commitment once he just sprinted the whole length of the pitch, just chasing after the ball and hoping for a mistake by the defender who was on the ball. Incredible commitment, really like that. Played in a great cross for Batshuayi's goal. And Kennedy and William were really the only players that that were good today and that I was happy with today. Drinkwater was alright, I suppose, and so was Ampadu. He wasn't really, used and needed all too much. When he did alright. Azpilicueta and Luiz should do better for the goal, otherwise can't really complain about them. Zappacosta was abysmal, absolutely abysmal, did absolutely nothing right all game long. Was bullied by, every Norwich player basically. Couldn't get past anyone, didn't play any great crosses either. Bakayoko did what he always does, and that's nothing. Hazard was meant to come on and change the game, and still William was the only one creating anything. With Morata to be fair, but he couldn't finish. Batshuayi scored, but everything else he did was poor. Pedro did well at the start of the first half, but then he dived, and then he got sent off. But after the start of the second half, he really didn't do anything well either. So, Willian and Kennedy, the only ones I was actually quite happy with today. And Ampadu. Let's put Ampadu in there because he wasn't needed all too much. But he did well when he was needed. So, even though we are through, I'm fucking pissed at that referee and that video assisted referee. 2 stonewall penalties not given. Morata sent off after moaning about getting booked for a dive that just wasn't a dive. Of course he shouldn't be so stupid to moan about it because the referee isn't going to take the yellow card back. If anything, he's just going to send you off. And that's not smart. I get, you're heated in the moment, of course. We've all played football and have felt very heated, even if a referee shows us a yellow card or whatever. But you need to get that under control. You're not playing, with your mates. This has consequences. You're now suspended in an important league game for us. We need to get back to winning ways inside 90 minutes on the weekend. Now you're sent off. But the defender had his arms on Morata's shoulders, pushing and pulling him. Like I said, not enough for a penalty, alright. But that's not a dive. Going down easily is not a dive. It's not enough for a penalty. He went down too easily for it to be a penalty. But it doesn't make it a dive. So he shouldn't be sent off because his dive wasn't a dive. So he shouldn't have gotten that first, yellow. And then he wouldn't have moaned at the yellow, so he wouldn't have been sent off. Maybe he would have moaned at not getting a penalty, fair enough. So he would have had 1 yellow, but not 2 yellows and wouldn't have been sent off. And it's very frustrating. And obviously the one with Zappacosta as well. The video referee, I don't even think looked at that one. It's bloody awful. Obviously now Pedro and Morata, like I said, are suspended against Brighton on Saturday, which certainly makes that a good bit more difficult. And I'm going to be at that game. I'm flying out to England on Friday. And I'm really looking forward to that. And now I'm going to have to see Batshuayi start up front, which... yes, he scored today, but hopefully he scores a few more against Brighton, because bloody hell, that game gave me heart attacks. Pissed off at that ref. Yes, we're through, great, we're still in it, but, we left a lot of energy on that pitch today. We had to bring on everyone we had, Kante, Morata, Hazard, and Christensen as well, so the only one that was really rested was, Fabregas and Gale are injured, so Rudiger and Courtois are really the only ones. They got a proper rest, and maybe Moses, so... that didn't really go to plan at all. So, yeah, that's really it from me. Leave me all of your thoughts down in the comment section below on that game, on the penalty decisions, on, the team or whatever. Just leave me all of your thoughts down in the comment section below. Leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Also, don't forget to check out my social media, which is last 1507 on both Instagram and Twitter. It'd be class if you could follow me over there. I'd massively appreciate that. You can see it over here, like I said, last 1507. And also, don't forget to subscribe to 90% Chelsea. You can click that button up there and you can subscribe if you haven't already. We'd massively appreciate that. We'd love to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the month. We know it will be tough, but if you could help us reach that, we'd massively appreciate that. Thank you guys for watching. Upwards and onwards, up the Chelsea. And I'll see you next time.